Hi, Bill here, and very happy to say that we're going to be applying some color now to a black and white sketch. And I've used a piece of tracing paper with some marker to make 3 areas of color. 2 of them correspond to the sketch. They were done by putting the tracing paper over the sketch. The third one is an arbitrary cloud of color that doesn't correspond. We're going to start by using what may be a new select tool, rectangular marquee, and we are going to select these facial features, and holding down Command I can easily drag them to our sketch, and I'm going to put that in multiply, and now I'm going to locate it in the right spot. And now I'm going to select first one cheek, and then if you hold down Shift you can add to a selection. So I'm now going to select the other cheek. Okay, and now something new. If you use Command U, you get this lovely color window here where you control your color, and we can change the hue, which is like the colors of the rainbow. You see how her cheeks are changing from one color to another, and we're going to stop at a kind of pinkish violet. And moving down, saturation can also be adjusted. That's the richness of the color in a way. So I'm desaturating, and you can see it's getting closer and closer to gray, so you get more muted, more subtle tones as you desaturate, and more vibrant ones as you saturate. Now this is already a very rich color, so it's not changing much as we go up. We'll just kind of leave that where it is. And lightness, you can make it lighter all the way to making it disappear. When you have something in multiply and you try and make it darker, you got a problem because the white is now turning gray. See that? So won't really work for that. Only works to make things dark if you don't have any white. Now we're going to click OK and select the lips, and once again Command U, change those lips to red. Okay. Now you might want your colors a little more vibrant than that, in which case you could adjust brightness and contrast. If you brought up the contrast, you're going to make them much richer. Now we're going to go in a little closer. You might feel that the line work of the lips is detracting a little because a lot of black in that red. So you could select that area, and moving to the line work layer, you could also adjust brightness and contrast. So let's say we increase the brightness, and see how the black line is getting lighter. But let's imagine you didn't want any line work at all. You just wanted the red of the lips. You could just delete that. If the lips weren't rich enough in color, you could try Image, Adjustment, Brightness, Contrast. Again, push up the contrast. And another thing you could do with color and black and white, you can use the Erase tool. And you can adjust whether that's a soft edge or a hard edge by choosing an eraser type. And I'm going to take a hard edge. And you can also adjust the size of the eraser by using the brackets. So now I'm pressing the left bracket, now the right bracket. I can use that eraser. 100% opacity. I'm just going to try and clean up this lip a little bit here. But you can also turn down the opacity of an eraser or the flow and use a soft-edged brush to click it once before you can use the brackets. In that case, you get a kind of softer pattern. So next I'm going to bring over this shadow that I made. Just kind of made it up on the face with the tracing paper. And if I moved that area now, I would have this lettering I don't want. By pressing Alt along with one of your selection tools, you can actually subtract an area from your selection. So now we've subtracted that area, and we're going to drag it over to the face and put that in multiply also. Even when it's off register, it's kind of interesting. And look at the effect you get with both these in multiply, where one color overlaps another and makes it a new color. Plenty of room to explore there. I'm going to back out now. One of the questions people ask, oh, how do I fill in a certain area with color if I haven't made that shape beforehand? And so what we're going to do is we're going to grab the cloud, bring it over, and put that in multiply. And if you use Command T, just like with line work, you can rotate something like that. Obviously you could change the color, Command U. And the easiest way to work with this kind of thing, although it could sometimes prove tedious, would be just to go around the edge with an eraser, opacity higher, and take away the part that you don't like. Be one way to do it. Now depending on how complex your shape was, this could become quite time consuming. But things don't always have to fit exactly perfectly, but I'm going to show you some methods to make them fit more exactly in a minute. But when I drag that cloud over, I noticed something, and maybe you did too. There was a certain quality that it had. Doesn't it look like our woman is thinking or maybe worried about something now? Quite an amazing effect. I'm even turn off the face color for a moment. Yeah, a little worried or troubled, perhaps. You will find some surprises when you're doing this kind of thing, and do let yourself experiment. For example, let's just make a duplicate layer. And this time we're going to use Command T. And anything we can do with Command T on a line, you can do with the color as well. For example, if I right-click, I can flip horizontal. Now I'm going to go to Command U and adjust that. And you get quite a range of mood created here just by adjusting the color. I'm going to bring that in a little tighter. Anyhow, that's quite a dramatic effect. But let's get back to filling a specific space with color, and I'm going to do so with this piece of hair. But before I do that, I'm going to make my job a little easier by enlarging this cloud of color. Now, going back to the line layer, I'm going to use the Magic Wand tool, and right now I have that set with a tolerance of 10, and you'll see that you're getting a little trouble with that. I'm going to select this area of hair, and once again let's go and look much more closely at what we're seeing here. And you can see we haven't selected right up to the black part of the line. We've got some bits of gray along the edge, and let's turn off this blue cloud so we can see that more clearly. See that? And that could present some problems. If you were using that as the edge of your color, then you'd have kind of a gray stripe between your color and your black line. So what we want to do is increase the tolerance. Let's put it way up there at 90 and deselect. And this time, when we use the tool, look at that. See how it pushed way into the black line? And there's another trick to the tool too. If you hold down Shift and hit it again, boom, pushes even further in. So it gets stronger with the tolerance, and it gets stronger with the number of times you click it. So now we're well over the gray part of the line with the selection. I'm going to back out again. And now, instead of switching to the Move tool, I'm going to stay with the Select tool, and I'm just going to move that selection over here to our color. And I'm going to copy that shape. And then I'm going to go back to this image, and I'm going to paste it. Ah, an exact fit. And if you put that in Multiply, you see a bit more of the black line. It's definitely done the job of filling in that area. But you still have your handmade quality of the texture here, and that could certainly be more textured if you want. And now I'm going to try filling this piece of hair. Now if you remember last time when we had the toothbrush and we had that little open slot, we put a line there. Now you might like your drawings this way without a line, and you still want to select this portion. You can actually do that and not have a line there. To do that, put in a new layer, new, not a duplicate layer, a new layer, and we're going to turn off the colored layers, as they're going to confuse this process that I'm going to show you if I leave them on. And now on the new layer, layer 7, we're going to put a little line in here now, just a little detail of how you do it. If you click once, hold down Shift and move to a new point, then click again, makes a straight line between the 2 points. And that's on layer 7, which is one layer above the line work. If we go to the Magic Wand now, and we choose Sample All Layers, click on the hair, you'll see that it is sampled without spilling out. However, it doesn't mean you have to leave that line there. You can turn layer 7 off, and then you'll see once we get done that there's no line showing. Copy, edit, paste, and I'm going to put that in Multiply. You can see, sure enough, no line showing there, but you have managed to color in the area without the telltale line. Now sometimes you might decide it would actually be more interesting to use that as a little shadow. What should we call it? Worried Woman? Handmade lettering is great, but there's also a type tool here with a T, so you could call this Worried Woman. But it is really amazing the amount of emotion you can create using color. I'm just going to try turning off that upper cloud and just moving this one a tiny bit off and modifying that color a little. I don't know, maybe she's not worried anymore. Sometimes with just the tiniest adjustment in what you've done, you can change the whole mood of something. She almost looks proud. I'm going to call this woman Proud Woman. And let's say I want to save that, and let's call her Proud. But meanwhile, I'm still thinking about the earlier version that I liked. Let's go over here to the history. Now, if your history isn't showing, you can go to the window, click on history, and it'll pop up over here. And we can go back step by step. We can't go back forever. But the default setting is usually about 12 or 15 steps you can go back. Yeah, we could also save this version. And the variety you're able to achieve there, different qualities. Imagine trying to do that with paint. I like her a little more violet looking.